Hey beautiful soul family, how are you guys doing today?
Hello everyone, it's so good to connect with you all again.
We were super psyched to bring to you Metatron's channeling. It's always so fun when Metatron connects with us. In the first few years of our awakening, about 7 years or so ago, Metatron was a very active entity in our lives. Man, he was with us every day, even during our dating phase. I remember that was the first time he introduced himself to us, and man, like we entered into our awakening with Metatron's energy. So you can imagine how overwhelming, humbling, and awe-inspiring all of that was at once. Metatron makes us giddy to this day. There's something about Metatron that, like, we've worked with Saint Germain, we worked with Michael, we worked with Yeshua, we worked with Isis. Okay, Isis is another entity. Like Isis and Metatron make us...
Isis is a badass.
Yes, Isis is such a badass, and I truly feel like out of all the entities that we've worked with, we feel like Metatron and Isis are truly like the ones that we love it when they connect with us, and it's so exciting to bring their energy and their downloads into our channel. We've been told that Metatron, we're going to be channeling Metatron and Isis quite a lot from now on, so we're super freaking excited. And yeah, the inspiration for today's video was literally to decode the message we shared with you last week about Metatron, like the Metatronic channeling that we shared with you. Just so you know, every word in that channel was channeled. So it wasn't like we were adding our touches. It came in, and the funny thing is, Siman was upstairs, I was downstairs, and he was channeling through both of us, and we kind of connected the paragraphs together, and the yin and the yang, so it was very beautiful. And today we're just going to decode it. And what's super exciting is that as we were getting ready to record this message, we got a little nudge from Metatron saying, connect everything that I said to what's happening in the world right now. Connect it to the faucet chi, you know who I'm talking about, the emails that have all been come out. Everything that's happening right now on the planet is like the cue ball, everything, the darkness that is prevalent on planet Earth. He says, tie my channeling into current events and give people a galactic perspective. So as always, we haven't prepared. We're literally we've just taken 3 or 4 sentences from the Metatronic channeling, and we're gonna go deep, give you a galactic perspective, and see if Metatron wants to channel anything live during the meeting, during the session. I love you guys. I'm super excited for this.
Yeah, so the way it started for us was we were feeling these intense ascension energies, and I'm sure all of you felt it as well. The whole month of May we were bombarded with Schumann resonance, and these photonic energies were so intense that there was one day that we were just both feeling exhausted and spent, and we just asked our angels
Fed up is the better word. We were feeling fed up. We're like, fuck this shit.
That's why the title was Wanting to Leave Planet Earth. And that's when Metatron came in, and Metatron comes in when we're really like in need of him. And when he comes in like a father. He comes in as a very nurturing energy, and he just puts us back on our feet, and he gives us everything we need inside and out. So other than the channeling, we received a very powerful healing that helped lift off the ascension symptoms, and it actually gave us a lot of hope and a lot of clarity on how we got here and where we're going. A lot of you shared with us in your comments that you also felt the same way, how it was a very uplifting message, and we all need to be reminded the job that we came here to do, it is so important. So let's not lose sight of that.
And so many people, so many of you said you bawled your eyes out. That's the Metatronic frequency, you guys.
Yeah,
it's the most fatherly, most loving frequency. And I literally said to Metatron, all right, if you want us to continue here and blah, 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 because we have a very endearing relationship with Metatron. Yeah. We kind of boss him over, because the way we work with angels is, with some angels, we're more formal, like with Saint Germain, with Michael, with Mother Mary, we're more formal with these angels. Even with Yeshua, we're more formal, I would say. Yeah. With Melchizedek, these are the ones we've worked with, which is why I'm citing them. But with Metatron, I'm like, where the F have you been, man? Like, we miss you. Like, what the hell? Like, you can't just leave us here. So anyway, we have this relationship with Metatron, which we've cultivated over the years, and it's so exciting to have him back in our lives. And he's, like Siman said, he comes in when he's needed. So call on Metatron. Metatron works with people who are serious on their ascension path. He works with the serious initiates. He works with initiates who can look past their ego and really work on their ascension path. He doesn't fool around. He doesn't play around. He's a master of discipline. He expects discipline. He expects integrity, and he expects seriousness on your ascension path. And he works with anyone who has the potential, the caliber. Not because a lot of times I find with Metatron, once he comes into your life, a certain level of what's the word? Discipline or you need to commitment.
You need to be serious on your path in order to work with Metatron, and those are the initiates he really takes under his wing. So we were fortunate enough to be introduced to him early on in our ascension path, and we showed the commitment. We put in the effort. We were prepared to look at all the dark sides and all the blind spots, and we really shone the torchlight on ourselves. Like EldoRa always mentioned, you shine the light on yourself and all the darkness, all the blind spots are revealed. So we highly encourage you guys, whoever is serious on their ascension path, to ask Metatron to guide them, and he'll guide you in every aspect of your life, not just like the esoteric or the metaphysical. He'll give you practical tips on how to raise your vibration, how to really make progress, move forward. And wanted to go into his channeling. One of the first things that he mentioned, and I'm going to read that out for you guys, is that what you are witnessing in the physical is the physical ascension of a planet, which is a phenomenon that occurs once in millions of years. And I read a comment from someone saying, doesn't the physical ascension occur every 26,000 years or so? So the answer is no, it does not. The physical ascension of an entire planet, especially a planet of 8 billion souls. So first of all, know that 8 billion souls on a planet is not occurring all over the galaxy. 8 billion is a huge number of population to be on a single planet. Earth was originally designed for like half a billion people or so. Currently, Earth is so highly populated because the number of souls, every soul wanted to reincarnate at this particular juncture in time, because this is such a rare occasion in galactic history that this is something that does not happen every day. The ascension of an entire planet has never occurred in this galaxy ever before. So this is a historic period of time. And one of the things that we are being reminded of here is that this is a very golden opportunity for souls to evolve. So what happens during the ascension is that time is sped up, and there is great assistance from the angelic realms to assist with the soul's evolution. So the souls who are here to and are serious to work on their evolution path, and they know that they have this assistance, they have the chance to overcome or transmute hundreds of lifetimes worth of lessons in a single lifetime. And this is something that does not happen every day. So remember how important it is that we came here at this auspicious time, and that this is a golden opportunity for you to move forward and to clear as much karma as possible. And one of the reasons that our lives are so intense right now, it's like we hear everybody saying how all of our lessons are coming up and Earth is too hard and I want to leave. Why are things so intense on Earth? It is because right now the checklist of soul level lessons that we came here to pass is huge, because this is the pretty much the last window of opportunity for a soul to pass through all of their lessons before the planet ascends. Now keep in mind, once the planet ascends, we don't have the same soul opportunities to evolve as we do in 3D, in duality. So duality serves a purpose. It's not just a punishment. It's not just some place souls are sent to be punished. Duality basically means that you have to learn through forgetfulness, and you have to learn the lessons from the dark and the light. So once we ascend, once everything's love and light, once we're in unity consciousness, everyone's nice to each other, there's no all the fauchis and all the dark ones are removed from the planet. So then life becomes easier. We still learn, we still evolve, and there's great things to learn out there in the universe. There's so many things that we're not even currently aware of, that we cannot even dive into yet. So treat this period like a golden opportunity for your soul, and really show commitment. Work with the angels, work with the ascended masters, say your affirmations, tell them what you need, ask the universe for what support and assistance you need, set goals for yourself, and move forward in a diligent way, because this is a rare occasion.
And also I want to add to that, that's so beautifully said, because really human beings, I find when we incarnate on this planet, we lose sight of what's important.
Yeah.
All our focus is external, all our focus is on friends, and you know, like we've all been through that. Like, let's socialize, let's meet up with her, let's meet up with him. And once you get serious in your ascension path, it really becomes more about, I want to use my time wisely because I'm here on this planet for a reason, and before Earth ascends, I have work to do. I have shit to clear. So really get on that, getting on that frame of mind will accelerate you. Nothing else matters. Once we're all in New Earth, we're going to have the parties and the communities and the celebrations and the fun, the positivity and all of that, the ease, the abundance, all of that's coming. It's closer than we think. But now is the time to clear, and a lot of these energies coming up are really bringing up the icky stuff, the yucky stuff. So remember, this yucky stuff is coming so that you can heal it once and for all, and it can finally leave your system. In fact, just this morning, a huge wave of heart chakra healing came up for me, where I was just lying on the couch and receiving healing for almost 2 hours, because it was a lot of my pain from the past. I've always allowed people to take advantage of me. I'm talking 20 years ago, I'm talking 15 years ago, but remnants of that are still in my being. So if we just allowed our hearts to heal everything once and for all, it would be very uncomfortable. So all of this healing happens in stages. Imagine it's almost like a safety valve that's placed on each chakra, and just a little bit of healing comes out at a time, and that's by design. So when this healing comes up, it feels horrible. I started being shown visions of all the times I allowed myself to be a doormat. Not so much a doormat, but out of my love for people, I allowed them to take advantage of me. I allowed them to talk down to me. I allowed them to criticize me for everything I did. My hair, my everything. Like, they criticized me for every ounce of weight I gained. And because of that constant criticism constantly reflected to me, I went into a state of everything they wanted. Yeah. Like when someone's constantly criticizing you for something, you start becoming your own worst inner critic, because you're like, okay, these are people we love, they're constantly criticizing us from everywhere, so all of this must be true. So anyway, when that kind of healing comes up, it's not because this baggage is not going to New Earth. This baggage of who you've been has only been so that you realize how beautiful of a beacon of light you are, and you weren't a doormat. In fact, you know what they showed me this morning? They said, EldoRa, think of what a beautiful being you must be. Just think of it for a second. That so many people in your ex-life insulted you, critiqued you, constantly nagged you. I mean, not in a rude way. These were my in-laws I'm talking about. These were my ex, like my family. I loved these guys. And they said, if you had the capacity to love them back so much, just think of what you lightworkers are made of. Just take a moment to recognize that. So anyway, I went through that healing, and more and more and more of this healing is just leaving my heart chakra. There was a little bit in my throat chakra. So many of you guys are going through that. Siman, we've both been through so much of this healing, and luckily we have each other. We're so blessed we have each other when all of this comes up, to support each other. But hopefully this channel and other channels like this soul family, we have each other. We have your back, you have our back. We're in it together, you guys.
Yeah, and one of the things I reminded EldoRa is that she is such a pure soul that she's told me the stories of all the kind of control, narcissism, and abuse that she's had to deal with over so many years. Not once did she return hatred. Instead, what she did was she assumed that everyone is criticizing out of love, criticizing her out of their love. because when you're love, all of our light workers on earth, we're just pure love. We don't know narcissism. We don't know these duality concepts. This is what we came to learn and master. But because she thought that everybody's offering her their criticism out of love so she can improve, she instead internalized all that criticism, thinking, okay, this is a chance for me to improve. But because that criticism was not based on unconditional love, it was all based on insecurity and ego, it became like a sub-personality of hers. So her an inner critic, a part of her ego fragmented and became an inner critic, because she was constantly shown that you're not doing right, you're not a good person, you're always making mistakes, you're clumsy, you're this, you're that. So what that became was, she didn't realize that this is abuse. Many of us are in the same boat. We live in families where we're constantly being abused emotionally or on so many levels by narcissistic family members that we think that there's something wrong with us. But really, we're perfect. The way we are perfect. We just have to accept and love ourselves as is, because there's nothing wrong with us. It's only when we fragment ourselves, when we start looking at ourselves from the lens of the outside world, from the lens of the critics and the lens of our abusers, they convince you that there's something wrong with you.
Yes.
Instead of realizing that, oh my God, I'm in a madhouse, this whole planet is upside down, and I'm surrounded by narcissists. That you realize much later in life after your awakening. So for those of you who are going through your awakening journey and you're realizing that some of the people who you thought were your well-wishers are really not your well-wishers, because it's not because they're bad people, it's just they're very dense.
And also, as you pointed out to me this morning, it's only when you're really insecure about yourself and when you're in your ego, can you constantly do that to someone else. So he said to me this morning, everybody in your family, and trust me, these are memories that were completely hidden from me. Like, it's not like I sit and think of this. It just came up, a new wave just came up. And Siman reminded me, he said that those who belittle others are so insecure that instead of owning their insecurity, they constantly pick on the stronger people or the loving people around them and keep putting them down. That's the only way their ego can survive. So yeah, we went off a bit, but it's so important. Reflect on where you are, where this is happening for you in your world.
Yeah, and also wanted to shed light on another aspect of the channeling where it was mentioned that we've traveled back in time. Did you want to shed more light on that?
I actually have a sentence here. Let's read what Metatron said.
Yeah.
You have traveled back in time and inserted yourself into this current time-space reality since the early 20th century. To save this planet from destruction. You see, dearest starseeds, you are the future version of humanity from a timeline thousands of years from now where Earth does not ascend and ends up getting destroyed altogether. So this is very beautiful how Metatron said we've traveled back in time, and the easiest analogy I can give you guys to really soak this up is when you're walking around on Earth. Like, let's say you're walking in dense neighborhoods, like really dense, like matrix controlled, like Chinatown, or like, you know, those really dense places where everything is GMO,
where there's a McDonald's every
there's
corner.
a McDonald's everywhere. It's just a different, I'm just saying Chinatown, but I can, like, there's 10 other places that you can think of, like really dense. When you look around and you see the people around you, many of us think, okay, we are all the same humanity, right? Instead, think of yourselves as being inserted into their world, into their reality, to mix and mingle with them. When I say them, I mean the humans on this planet. Mix and mingle with them to then start mixing with them. The DNA is mixing with them, so then you're healing the planet and helping ascend. You're not one of them, they're not one of you. Many of you, your ex, like even my ex-in-laws, we're different breeds altogether. So when Metatron said you have traveled back in time, from a soul's perspective, there is no time. ETs, for example, they travel back and forth in time all the time, because in higher realms, it's not like 21st century, that's just on Earth, because we follow linear time. In higher realms, ETs, positive ETs do this all the time. There are ETs that are in charge. They're like the galactic police. They're in charge of looking around, looking at civilizations that are going into negative timelines because their free will is being trampled upon, or because universal laws are being broken. And what such galactic police do is they go back in time, or they go ahead in time and insert themselves into that time-space reality and say, all right, I'm not going to work in the 21st century, whether that's in the past or in the future. I'm going to insert myself into that reality to then help that civilization. And many of you are from the future. And the best way for you to also really soak this up is when you look around and look at humanity, humanity is not at the same level of unconditional love that you are at. Humanity is not at the level of integrity, purity of soul that you are at. There might be a lot of nice people on this planet, good human beings, but they still are of a different caliber. Even in humanity, there's like really dense, and there's a few more that are positive, that are, you know, higher up in their evolution. But it's very clear that we're not them and they're not us. And that's not separation. This is stating a fact as it is. So we light workers are way more advanced in terms of our purity of soul. We've done more soul lessons. We are where they are now. So they are a version of our past. So we've healed. We've come a long way ahead. So we're more advanced than them. But we came back in time and inserted ourselves amidst them to mix with them and heal this planet as a result, and bring in our higher codes and help Gaia ascend. Yeah. Add to that, because that's so important.
Yeah, definitely. So in the future, there's a race of humans known as who call themselves the wing makers. And those of you who want to dig deeper into this, there's an interview with Dr. Neruda or something to that effect, where he interviews a ET from the future, and that interview is mind-blowing. Basically, it reveals how a version of humanity from the future came back in time, because this is the time period where everything started going wrong. And we basically, these people who came back from the future are from a particular timeline where Earth was completely destroyed, like thousands of years into the future. So the way this works is that souls are able to insert themselves into any period of time. Galactic Federation and Galactic Police and whatever higher civilizations they cannot trample on the laws of free will. So they cannot just like land their spaceship on a planet and say, hey, you are dark ETs and you're not allowed to be here, so we're gonna like force you to leave. That's not how it works, because the laws of free will dictate that only the civilization of a planet can dictate how they evolve. So they must be allowed to evolve in a state of free will. But what happened on Earth was that a negative ET race came hundreds of thousands of years ago, and we've spoken about this in more detail in my video on Atlantis and whatnot. So a negative ET race came back hundreds of thousands of years ago to take control of the planet for the resources and whatever other reasons they have. These are basically ET beings who go from planet to planet, and they plunder the resources and they enslave the races for their own gain. And why do they do that? It doesn't make any sense to us normal people, right? They do that because they don't have their own connection with God's source. So the only way they know how to survive is by plundering resources and to enslaving other beings in order to survive. And they feed off our negative energy. So when these advanced beings, negative ETs known as the Anunnaki, when they came on planet Earth, they decided to enslave the planet, the human population, by reducing our DNA strands from 12 to 2 strands. And that pretty much disconnected us from our God source. It made us forget who we are, and it also took away all of our powers. So we had great telepathic powers, we were masters, and suddenly we fell in our consciousness from 5th dimensional consciousness to 3D consciousness, and we forgot who we are. And we were kept on this planet, pretty much like a prison planet, but without even knowing that we are trapped. So they had installed a reincarnational system around the planet, which forced the souls to continue to reincarnate on the same planet. Normally, a soul would have a free will to go to another planet if they didn't want to be on Earth, right? But they installed, they put Earth in a zone of displacement, and they put a negative kind of like trapping system where souls were forced to reincarnate for thousands of years. So what happened on Earth for the last couple thousands of years is that we were just going in cycles. We weren't learning anything. We were just living in misery. We were just repeating the same karmic lessons, and we were just going deeper and deeper and deeper into our karma, and we were losing our connection with God's source. So once the laws of free will are trampled upon, that's when the Galactic Police or the Galactic Federation has to kind of step in to make things right. So what they do is, because they're not allowed to interfere from the outside, because that violates the laws of free will of the planet, what we decided to do was incarnate into this planet in millions. So all of the light workers, we've been incarnating here since the early 1900s, like since 1914, just before the World War I was fought, was the first time that that we started incarnating. By the Second World War, Earth had reached such a dark state that it could not descend any further. So the ascension of the planet actually began in the 1940s. So from a 3D perspective, a war is a very like dark, gruesome, and very ugly thing. But from an ascension of a planet, you need to descend to the lowest point possible to show the people of the planet the results or the consequences of their complacency. So we as humanity learned all of our lessons by coming near the brink of extinction. And that's when humanity got a wake-up call. And also because the consciousness of the planet started raising once the Lightworkers and the Starseeds started incarnating here. So there were more in the 40s, more of us in the 50s, more of us in the 60s. Why do you think the 60s hippie movement took place? It was all like going back into love and freedom and music and all of that good stuff, right?
And they also infiltrated that.
Yeah, so the cabal also squashed that movement by injecting drugs and whatnot into, and turn it into a completely negative thing. So all of these movements were like gaining more and more momentum until until 1989, when the harmonic convergence occurred. The harmonic convergence was the point where Earth had reached a vibration because of the light workers that were present here, that you can call it the point of no return, because after that, no matter what happens, the vibration dictates the direction of the planet. So we raised the vibration of the planet sufficiently enough so that Earth was destined to ascend one way or another. I mean,
it was decreed that Earth would ascend. It was
exactly.
decreed by Prime Creator that Earth has reached a point in consciousness where Earth will ascend, and all help will be given to Earth to ascend. And to add to a few of the things he said, he talked about how these negative ETs, so you know all the people here that we refer to as the Cabal, these are not just human beings. These are negative beings, negative ETs with advanced technologies. But the good news is their advanced technologies are only limited to the 4th density. Right? The light has advanced technologies that can go far higher, and that is far more sophisticated than the negative ET technology that these guys use. So what they do is that since they are limited to the 4th dimension, their end goal is to keep as many humans in this inverse matrix of fear, stress, going to work, not making enough money, just taking one vacation a year, eating in McDonald's, eating GMO, very unhealthy food, spraying us with chemtrails, spraying us with fertilizers. So they've kept us in this, and this is how they trampled upon the free will of a planet, which is why all these beings, these positive beings are now able to intervene, and through the light workers who are physically incarnated here, they're able to give us all the assistance we need to help with the ascension of this planet. So the free will, if you think back, was first violated when these negative ETs dumbed our DNA down from 12 strand to 2 strand. That was a huge violation of free will. Second was when they caught humans in this reincarnation cycle. So basically they said, we're not going to let you ascend. They didn't allow human beings to ascend because they caught them in a trap of reincarnation. Why? As he mentioned, for their negative energy. We've talked about this in the past. The negative ETs, so the cue ball, they need louche energy. Louche energy, they need this energy source to feed off on. They're cut off from God's source. So they can only live off your fear. They can only live off your guilt, your stress, your revenge, your anger. All these negative energies become this big ball of energy for them to feed off on. They actually have implants in our chakras, and this is something we've received training on from the angelic realms, is how to remove these implants. They have etheric technologies which are implants in our chakras that literally convert our pain and misery into tangible energy that can be fed into a central system. And this system was called the red spider. And this has already been taken down, so it's nothing to be concerned about. It was taken down a few years ago, and the good news is, until that was on, the red spider, it's an artificial intelligence system that gave them the directives of how to continue controlling humanity. The good news is that was completely taken down, what, a few years ago? That's what we were told, at least. We were shown that it was taken down.
Shortly before 2012, if I'm not mistaken.
That's resonating. So once this was taken down, these guys basically are on their own right now, which is why we've many times used the analogy that the dark ones on this planet are like the octopus with the head cut off. And each of the tentacles are on their own. They have no idea what they're doing. They're sinking, they're sinking, they're sinking. And they're saying, let's control and let's take as much of humanity. When I say humanity, I'm not talking about you guys with us, because we need their negative energy. Let's induce stress into the population. Let's induce fear into the population, because this fear now becomes the food that we need to survive. Right? So universal laws cannot be trampled upon, you guys. When universal laws and free will are trampled upon, that is why we have all incarnated here, come back in time, mixed with these civilizations, and now we're going to ascend with Gaia.
And not to mention all the human sacrifice and the trafficking that they used. So the level of darkness that Earth had reached and until this point has never been experienced before. Like, this is the darkest we've ever seen a planet descend to. And the lower a planet descends, the higher it ascends. So every energy, whether negative or positive, must be counterbalanced with its equal opposite. So because we've gone through thousands and thousands of years of descension, now we're going into thousands and thousands of years of ascension. So for the next couple of 1,000 years, we're just going to connect back with God's source, and we're going to activate all of our powers and abilities, our telepathic abilities. We're going to go back to our galactic templates, which is a superhuman template.
And tell them how Metatron said you achieve this by incarnating as soul groups and set certain predefined markers to activate your soul missions within the 3D planes of existence. By incarnating amongst humans, you shared your unconditional love and galactic wisdom while walking your path of mastery. Your very presence on Earth helped to rebuild the 5D Christ consciousness grid around the planet, which plays a pivotal part in heralding this civilization into the golden age.
Yeah, so that's a great point to dive deeper into. What Metatron is basically reminding us of is that the Lightworkers and the Starseeds are very special souls. We're like an elite task force of the universe. So it's not like just anybody can say, hey, I want to be a Lightworker, I want to go help that planet ascend. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to go through thousands and thousands years or millions of years of training. I mean, there's no different concepts of time in the higher realms, but it takes a lot of lifetimes worth of training before a soul can even qualify to be a starseed who is sent to a planet to assist with the ascension. So all of us who are awakening, and if you are tuning into messages like this, you are awakening, and it is very likely you are one of the starseeds who came here to assist. the way it works is that we've gone through thousands of lifetimes worth of training to be able to assist the planet until this point, which also means we are more evolved than the average human. So we have a propensity to experience an awakening much more easily than the average human. That's why we're the first ones to awaken. So the way we do it is that we incarnate in teams. We don't, it's not just one or a few people that can achieve ascension of a whole planet of 8 billion people. You need millions and millions of star seeds in order to make a dent in the energetic frequencies of a planet. So the way we do it is that we have pre-arranged contracts with our higher selves and our galactic team of angels and ascended masters who are going to assist us. So what we do is how we met, for example. When EldoRa and I met, we instantly activated each other, right?
Instantly.
We just like awoke, we had this rapid awakening, and we started remembering our lives in Atlantis. We started like activating our powers. Like we've had like crazy experiences in the first year of our ascension, first year of our awakening, where we've activated our healing abilities, we've activated our channeling abilities, we started seeing visions of the future, which very much came true. So we were like, we were shown that we pre-decided all of this through soul contracts. So all of you light workers, if you're awakening, it's not just by chance that you're awakening. You planned to come here on planet Earth. You planned all of the trauma and abuse that you're going to experience.
You handpicked your abusers.
Yeah, you handpicked your abusers. You even decided all of the trauma that you're going to go through. So if you're suffering from an illness, if you're suffering from some very traumatic events in your life, accidents, know that there are no accidents. Everything was planned out by your soul in order to prepare you for this particular time. Because whatever lessons we've learned so far have helped us understand the psyche of humanity to the point that now we can assist humanity raise their frequency, right? So now we've awakened and we've created this chain reaction on this planet, so that when the rest of the humanity awakens, they have someone who can lend them a helping hand, and that's going to be us.
And it's so crazy. This morning I'm lying on the couch with my heart healing, all of this happening, and Siman says to me, okay, so now bring up all the people that you know who talk down to you, blah blah blah, and thank them. I'm like, fuck you. He's like, now thank them. So you know all this. They're your teachers. They're the ones who helped you freaking get used to Earth, this planet.
Yeah.
They are the ones who helped us get used to their planet, you guys.
Yeah, so if your dad abused you, you need to thank him.
He might be one that loved you the most.
Yeah,
it's
true. Jokes aside, on a soul level, your abusers on a soul level are the ones who love you the most. And that makes me shudder. That makes me shudder because I'm like, my ex-wife loves me. She's like the biggest narcissist I've ever experienced. But it's true. So if you dive deeper into soul work, you'll understand that on a soul level, there's no hatred. Like when we die, we're all like, oh my God, that was such an interesting experience.
You played your part so well in being so mean to me, you know?
Yeah, so the way it works is like we plan all of this before we come here. So we literally have a conference with all of the souls that are going to play a role in our families or friends or abusers or whatever. And we all pick our roles and say, okay, this is the lesson I need to learn. I need to be an abuser this time because I have to learn certain karmic lessons. And you say, okay, I need to receive the abuse because I need to get this trauma and overcome it, so I learn how Earth works. So all of us pre-decide all these roles, and then we come here and then we forget. So if you're in an abusive relationship, you're most likely, it's not your first lifetime with that abuser. We play the same roles over and over and over again until we learn how to love each other. So until we harmonize all the soul lessons and learn how to love each other and forgive, it doesn't mean that you have to hug it out and say, you know what, it's fine, you raped me, it's not a big deal.
No. Yeah,
it's not like that.
It's more about getting into neutrality in your heart, getting into a place of neutrality, saying, all right, I see the bigger picture of why all of this happened. So I'm not going to hold on to the pain. I'm not going to hold on to the resentment and guilt and the finger pointing and all of that, but I'm going to transcend that. And if, let's say, people from your past are trying to catch you in their vortex of misery and constantly bait you into it, think of it this way. You're their food source, just like the cabal needs food source of your negative energy or the human's negative energy to thrive. Many of the people in your lives in the past may need you, because a lot of energy vampires, that's how energy vampires work. They like drama. So a perpetual state of drama and blaming and you said, she said, he said. We have transcended all that, and I can say that with so much relief, because once you transcend drama, you're no longer a oh, my back is, something's biting me, thank you. Once you transcend drama, yeah, you stop becoming a vibrational match to drama. And how amazing is our life now? We're like, yeah. Finally, it's like we're not a vibrational match to drama and blame and friendship issues and all this bullshit that we used to attract, because we had to still learn the lessons from it.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, if your dad was really horrible to you when you were growing up and he hit you or abused you, emotional trauma, whatnot. I mean, I've gone through that, so I'm using that example. Not the physical, but the emotional was very intense. So it doesn't mean I need to pick up my phone and say, Dad, we're good. Like, I'm sorry, I'm ascending now, so I want to put this behind us. It's not like that. You can forgive someone from a distance. You don't even need to talk to them. You don't even need to call them. You simply need to clear all your trauma from your heart, and you can go through energy healing. You can use any modality you like, but you need to address all of your wounds and completely melt them into love. And when you harmonize all of your wounds and all of your traumas, and you're taking away all the strands of energy that you've given away, and we're going to go deeper into the techniques in our courses, which we're going to launch, but in these videos we're just giving you a high-level overview of how the process works. When you go through the healing process and you've healed all the wounds from your childhood, from your abusers, then you can just be in a place of neutrality where you don't want anything to do with that abuser anymore.
And that person's energy no longer affects you.
Yeah.
That person, he can come into front of your face and say anything. He can say, you're a blah, 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 and that's all it seems like. It doesn't attach to you.
Yeah.
Baby, there's a lot of points here. I think it's going to go to 5 hours if we do all this. Why don't we go to this one? There's no difference between the self and the other. You want to do that?
I wanted to go into the resistance.
Fine.
Because a lot of people are going into resistance in this ascension energy. I mean, a lot of us are,
right?
It's just getting so intense that resistance is it's very common for resistance to show up in all aspects of your life and not wanting to be here on Earth during this time. So Metatron mentioned resistance is an energy of creating that which you do not desire. The conundrum here being that by choosing to be in a state of resistance, you are in fact creating the very conditions that make you want to leave this plane of existence in the first place. Now, when that came through, I had my mind blown. Like, this is one of the deepest things I've ever heard. Although it's like something you get logically, like, we all know this because
we teach this.
We teach this, but
when you're going through it, you're like, oh, Metatron needs to come reteach it to you.
I know. So this is something Metatron wanted us to explain, because this is the crux of the message about resistance and how we create the life of a resistance by being in resistance.
And when he says resistance is an energy of creating, what he really means is that just like the laws of attraction and we're manifestation, it's all about manifestation. Resistance is also an energy of manifestation. Like, you're creating, if you're in a state of resistance, you're becoming a vibrational match to everything that you are resisting. So if you're resisting how hard Earth is, Earth gets harder for you. If you're resisting why the hell hasn't disclosure happened, your life just gets so horrible that you just want to leave here, and your vibration just goes lower and lower and lower and lower.
Yeah.
And instead,
yeah, the law of attraction is basically dictating that whatever we're vibrating out into the universe is basically being reflected back to us. So knowing that, we have to remind ourselves that every single thing in our life is simply a reflection of what we're putting out there. So let's say you're in a job that you just dislike.
Let me give your example, even though this was not the plan. Remember last week how you were resisting? Okay, this guy, you guys will love this. Last week, Mr. Siman was in a very big state of resistance. He was resisting doing his taxes.
Oh my God.
He was resisting all his freaking 3D work, and luckily I have transcended this. So resistance is no longer a part of my life because I had major freaking resistance to 3D work. I hated calling CRA, which is a revenue agency.
I so hate her when she has all of her shit together.
Oh, trust me.
And I'm like, I've been waiting to do my taxes for a year now.
This guy had his shit together for the first 5 years of our relationship, and now I'm finally like, okay, this feels really nice.
Yeah.
His shit's coming up. That's awesome. Yeah. So when I had this energy of resistance, I didn't want to do my taxes. I didn't want to do 3D phone calls. I hate talking to people on the phone. It's just something that I don't like. And all of this started piling up. Lawyers, taxes, accountants. I mean, who wants to talk to a freaking accountant? I hate that shit.
Our vibration drops after talking to accountants and lawyers.
It feels like we're being, our life force is being
It's like we literally have to give each other a healing after the phone call.
Oh my God, one call. We're like such sissies in this.
Done.
Oh, we're done. So anyway, I have transcended all that. And in those days, he was very much like, why? Just pick up the phone and call. Like he'd, you know, preach to me.
That's when I was still like newly awakening from 3D and going into 5D. So I still was able to cope.
Yeah.
But the more you raise your vibration into 5D and you're like letting go of the 3D.
Yes.
But at the same time, you still need to make sure your tasks are done in the third dimension. It's not all about rainbows and unicorns. You still need to do your taxes.
Is that right?
I hope Nasara comes first.
So anyway, he was in this huge resistance. Oh my God, like accountant, like it just wasn't getting done. And literally, it's a matter of one day in which you can just transcend resistance, which is what you did. I said to him, you're in resistance, and if you're in resistance, it's just going to come back stronger.
Yeah.
So like the emails were getting too much, the phone calls were getting too much, because he was resisting the 3D work.
And I just decided to flip it on its head and take the bull by its horns. And it felt so much better
liberating.
After. Yeah,
his whole energy
so liberating.
changed.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this is not actually that hard. It's the resistance that makes it hard.
Exactly. So whatever you're resisting, just remember, learn from my mistakes.
Oh my God. So yeah, and it's very interesting about 3D. I find that if you're resisting taxes, like a lot of you may say, why do we need to do taxes when we're going to New Earth? You know what it is, guys? You have to be masters of the 3D and the 5D. You have to be masters at reading contracts, at having all your shit together, knowing how to do business plans, knowing how to live your life from a state of mastery, knowing how to have your life in order. If you're, let's say, just going la la la, love and light, let me meditate, you'll only go so far. And then you're going to have to count on spiritual teachers to guide you. But we're telling you, you are the spiritual teachers of tomorrow. You are the leaders of tomorrow. You are the guardians. You are the keepers. How are you going to step into your roles of leaders and masters if you don't have your shit together? So it's all about getting your things in order. And once you do, the 3D stuff just becomes easy. It's just a matter of, right now in my life, I'm like selling my Toronto apartment. I have so many 3D things going on. But I do it in mastery because I have learned my lessons around resistance. So now all it is, hey, delegate. All right, hire a realtor, do that. Hire a mover, do that, do this, do that. So I'm doing 25 things without resistance, and it's easy. But when Siman was presented with those 2 or 3 things, it seemed like a mountain on his back. And I've been there because the resistance energy is so big. It's saying, oh my God, you don't want to do this 3D job. You don't want to call the accountant. You don't want to be on hold for 20 hours with CRA. Right?
Yeah. And another example could be like you're stuck in a 3D job that you hate, and I've been there. The reason that you're in that 3D job is that because your soul still is showing you that there's some lessons you need to learn from that 3D job. If you had learned all of your lessons that you needed to learn, you would no longer be in that situation. So the very fact that you are still in that job means that there's something that you need to learn. Maybe you need to learn with how to deal with a narcissist boss, or you need to learn how to complete your tasks on time, or you need to learn how to organize yourself in a way that you're getting everything done and you're just on track. So basically, whatever you are resisting, go dive directly into it and tackle it head on. Don't push it to another day. And when you master all the lessons, when you've completely cleared all of that karma from your life, you will realize that instantly your reality switches and something better drops into your lap.
And life starts getting easier.
Yeah.
We have had periods of intense stress. When I ran a business, when he was still in his 3D job, oh my God, like I started having adrenal failure, adrenal fatigue. I mean, I had pimples all over my face due to the stress. I had severe health conditions.
Yeah.
And our guide said, if you don't like change your lifestyle, you're going to manifest something very serious in a disease form.
Yeah.
So we've really transcended all that, and right now life seems a lot easier. We feel like we have some of the easiest lives on earth. It doesn't mean our life is a fairy tale, but what it is that we know how to handle it when shit hits us in the face.
Yeah.
So when something hits us, we don't get lost in the shit.
Yeah.
We say, all right, how would we do it as a master? And that's what the fifth dimension it's all about. You're such a master that you can handle anything, because you know how to deal with all of this without getting lost or drowned in the storm. So when storms hit me 3 years ago or 4 years ago or 5 years ago, I'd be like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? This is hitting me, life is so hard. But right now what we find is we have a higher operating system. It's easier to handle all these blows. So when a blow hits, it doesn't even touch us. It's just more like, it's like that rather than like that. You know what I mean?
That sounded real. Are you okay?
Yes.
So the same example can be applied to relationships.
Oh.
Let's say
We're going
I've never
there,
seen
are
you
we?
in a mood like that.
We're going there. Relationships. All right. What do you
Yeah.
have to say about that?
So I lost my train of thought now. So let's say you're in a relationship with a narcissist. Let's say your wife is abusive or your husband is abusive. The same concept applies. You're in that relationship because you are a vibrational match to that relationship at some level. It doesn't mean that you deserve to be abused. That's not what it means at all. What it means is you need to learn how to stand in your power and deal with that abuse. You need to learn how to say no. You need to learn how to stand in your power and say, I'm finished with this, I'm done. And when you're done, you move out, you're clearing the space in your life for something better to come in.
And you're learning, it really boils down to that. You're learning, it's all about you. If you're with a narcissist, you are a vibrational match to being with a narcissist. So instead of saying, oh, she's a bad person, he's a bad person, he's doing this to me, reflect back on, okay, where I need to learn a lot of lessons. I need to stand in my power. I need to change something. So, which is why a lot of you, somebody kept commenting that they're really struggling with poverty consciousness. I think it was on our YouTube channel. I can't remember, a few videos ago. You're here, if you're right now struggling with no money in your lives, it's because you're here to learn and master this very soul lesson, and Metatron talked about that, but in the interest of time, we'll maybe touch on that and then wrap up. How Metatron said, these are the very soul lessons you've come here to master. So if you're struggling with something that you're resisting, saying, oh, I don't have good health, I am poor, I don't know, that's what perhaps you've come here, come to earth to learn how to transcend poverty. You've come to earth to learn how to transcend all of this. Instead of resisting it and saying, I'm just going to drown in this energy of poverty, or I'm just going to drown in this energy of chronic pain, think like a master would do and say, I'm going to heal it. I'm going to transcend it. I am going to come out of it. I'm going to rise from the ashes. That's what you have to do. And that's what we have done. We have come from the ashes. I have slept on streets of Mumbai. I have lived with no food, no water. I cannot even tell you the hardships I've been through. There was a night when I was 18, I woke up at 4 a.m. I was sleeping on the street because I'd run away from home with my ex-husband, and I got my period. I didn't have money to buy a freaking sanitary pad. I have lived in that state. But you know the one thing that I maintained? I had so much positivity that magic and angels surrounded me. Even in those days, I was completely asleep. But somehow, like, someone on the street would give us a free little, you know, what were they called? Bun kebabs or something in Bombay. They'd give us like free things all the time. So learn how to use the power of positivity, the power of giving thanks, These are huge lessons, guys. These are life-changing lessons. Even though we're just throwing it out here, really soak it in. Learn the power of gratitude. Learn the power of taking ownership of why you are in these very situations, because you put yourself, you could have chosen a life where I'm a multi-millionaire or I'm a poor person. If you chose a life where you're poor or you're in chronic pain, what are some of the other things?
You're
living with a narcissist.
Illness, like the way you dealt with your cancer and how you were in such a jovial mood with your doctor.
Even when I had cancer, when I was getting a hysterectomy, I literally said to my surgeon, I said, it's a date tomorrow, don't stand me up. And he's like, I've never seen anyone like you. Because what's the point of, like, I had no victim consciousness. I don't have victim consciousness in me.
Like the kind of shit that EldoRa's been through even makes me cringe. And she's been nothing but positive.
But I have
throughout.
you now. I have you now. He's my biggest, oh my God.
Because
you're my biggest blessing. And I wish this blessing for every... I wish you all so much love. Because love truly heals you guys. And I don't vocalize this often, but I wish you guys meet the loves of your lives. Because true love, really, once you have true love, which also starts with loving yourself, of course, but when you have that love radiated back to you and reflected back to you all the time like we do, it is the most beautiful, the most healing, the most fulfilling thing in the entire universe. And I wish this truly, dear Father, Mother, God, dear Metatron, dear Melchizedek, and all the angels from the higher realms, please, this is what we ask of you. Bless us all with the connection with our divine twin flames, with our divine masculines or divine feminines. It is so much easier for us to do our work when we are connected. And you know what they're saying? Don't give away your power. They're telling me this right now. Don't give away your power by asking us for it. You are capable of doing it. All you have to do is get out of victim consciousness and take power. Don't resist. Don't say, oh, I don't have a Siman, I don't have an EldoRa, I don't have this.
You are your own twin flame. You are your own soulmate. And when you vibrate your own love towards yourself as your own well-wisher, when you stop criticizing yourself, when you stop judging yourself, that's when you truly raise your wings and open up, and then you become a vibrational match for receiving love from the outside. And same with us. It's only after we stop the cycles of abuse in our life, me with my ex, with my father, and her with her whole in-laws, and she's dealt with so many things. After we mastered all of our lessons, then we became a vibrational match to meet each other. So it's not always about looking outside like, I haven't finished my soul lessons yet, but maybe my soulmate will come and help me along. Your soulmate may come and meet you today, but are you ready for your soulmate?
Yes.
That's the real question. Are you vibrating unconditional love to yourself so that somebody else can love you? Because if your soulmate knocks on your door today and you don't have all of your wounds healed, then you're going to drive them away. So what's the point? We have to do all of the inner work before we can. It's only because we love each other that we can love. It's only because we love ourselves that we can love each other so deeply. Otherwise, your intimacy blocks come up because you feel like, oh my God, if somebody came and started loving you unconditionally, you would, and you have not loved yourself unconditionally, you would push them away. You would say, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. It would bring all your shit up.
So instead, just start looking at the world with the lens of my divine soulmate or my twin. I'm talking to all of you who are still in the pursuit of that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful divine relationship that you know your soul craves. It's out there. Now it's just a matter of getting through those final lessons, guys. So get out of resistance and get more into take the bull by its horns. Take life by its horns. And that's really what Metatron got us to do, which is why you saw us going from a sinking ship to a, we're done. Like right now we're in a phase where luxury doesn't faze us. Like literally the way we feel is our home planets, our home frequency, the frequency that we embody, we feel is so high that nothing on planet Earth, and I say nothing very mindfully, is an energetic match to it. Not luxury, not the ocean, not nature, whatever. It just feels like this is such a dense planet. Even though we're like in the lap, we feel like the angels are like keeping us in safety because we're on a divine mission. We're here to help the planet ascend. We have a different soul mission. We have so much assistance, but we said to Metatron, we're done with this shit. And of course, we have our days too. And that's when Metatron said, take life by its horns. Don't be victims. You're not victims. Stand up wherever you are. Stand up. And you are capable of this. You've got this. You've got this in you. If not, you would never ever say, hey, I'm going to Earth. You'd never. It's not for the cowardly. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the weak. You've got this, you guys.
Yeah, and if there's one lesson we wanted to leave you with, it would be do not pay attention to all of the drama of the outside world right now. The 3D matrix has to collapse. But this is a time for lightworkers to rejoice, because this means the world is being cleared up so that new Earth can be built upon its foundation. So remember, these are the last few years of duality. How are you going to benefit from them? After this, duality will be gone. All of these soul lessons that you came here to master, you'll spend a lot longer in higher ascended planets to master the same lessons. So why not do that right now, within the next few years when you have the chance, and when there's so much forward momentum, so much angelic assistance that you can clear hundreds of lifetimes worth of work in a decade, for example.
Yes,
so
I love that.
Remember that you're not alone, dear ones, and call upon your angels, call upon your guides, and ask the universe for whatever it is you need to create, whatever it is you want assistance with, and that will it'll amaze you how powerful you are when you use your focus power of your thoughts, the focus power of your mind, and be clear on what your goals and ambitions are. If you're not clear, the universe is also going to give you a fuzzy life.
Yes, be very, very clear, and if you can't vocalize clearly, write clearly. Write, say this is what I'm letting go of, this is what I want more of. And let's say you're having a hard time getting your finances in order, or let's say you're getting a hard time getting your physical body in order. Write it down and say, dear guides. And I used to, when I was like 5-6 years ago, I used to have a daily conference call with my guides. This is a very important, very helpful tip actually. I used to do it in the shower. So every single morning I would call my guides. I would say, okay guides, all my guides, 5th dimensional and higher guides, come in. I want to do a conference call. I would say, these are the things that are going good for me. This is where I need help. I need help with this, connect me. I am, and I would say to them, I am ready to heal my physical health. I am ready to heal my hurt. I'm ready to heal my pain. So guys, connect me with whatever I need to do. And then they would just start connecting us. We've had help only from the higher realms. We've not had human help in our lives, guys. We've not had a loving teacher who comes on YouTube and gives us these messages, which is why we do so much, because we've received so much love from the angels that we only feel...
We have had Metatron assist us.
No, I say humans.
Yeah, humans, no.
We've only had the higher realms like Metatron giving us psychic. That's why we feel so inspired to do that for you, because we know how it is without a human teacher. We know how it is without someone to guide us. We have been there. We have been there. We know how it is. But look at our lives, and I can tell you, take inspiration from it. Because once you go through the steps, and you guys are the first wave of initiates. We've been shown that in our lives, in our trajectory, many waves will come. You guys are the first waves, which means when the second wave comes in, you guys have already graduated to the next step. And we will all go to the next step, because when you guys are ready for your level 2 initiations, like Metatron and Melchizedek like to call it, we will then have the way they show us is it's all a mystery school, which is why we're launching a mystery school. They've said level 1 initiations will have these lessons. Then you move into level 2 initiation. Psychic protection, the course we're just launching, is a level 2 initiation. Meaning for us to initiate you as a level 2 initiate in the order of Melchizedek Rose, that course has to be done. It's not a requirement for level 1. There is no requirement for level 1, but you guys are already ahead of the game. So just know that so much assistance is being sent to us, to the serious initiates. All we have to do is commit to it and say, all right, whatever we're given, whatever lessons we're given, whatever inspiration we're given from the higher realms, or through EldoRa and Siman, or through any of the other channels you're watching, we're going to take this and we're going to convert these teachings into action. That's the important part. If you don't convert it into action, you won't make it to level 2. Because imagine if you're at a level 4 and you're not learning your lessons, you won't be allowed to go to level 5, because you're going to fry your system. So we're gonna go one step at a time, and you guys are really acing it right now. You guys are acing it because I've seen your frequency. Just keep doing more of it.
Our soul family is a very high vibration, and I'm so proud of us all for meeting here on planet Earth so we can continue our work that we've been doing in past epochs of time. And this is our time, folks, so it's time to rejoice.
Yes.
So let's not go into fear about world events, because this is the beginning of the most exciting period on Earth, where New Earth, we're literally seeing the first few moments of the New Earth, where the old matrix is completely collapsing and a new matrix is about to be birthed. So yeah, just take time for yourself, learn your lessons. Whatever you're resisting the most, that's what you need to focus on the most. Just take that away.
Take life by its horns.
We love you guys.
I love you guys. Have fun, you guys, on Sunday. We're going to go upload this right now. We love you. Bye.